Hello and welcome to the Blackout Podcast, where I get to talk to amazing people who do amazing things. And today I have singer, writer, just an all-round creative person, Leanne Hoffman. Thanks for coming to the podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
I remember it was years ago. I think Erin Costelo had a show, but you performed. Yeah. I was like, who is this person? You know, it's like, did this big voice come out, this tiny person? I'm like, holy shit. So we'll start with your singing. Where did the singing come from?
Where did my singing come from? I sang in secret for a really long time.
Why?
I don't know. I was nervous to do it in front of people. I still am nervous to do it in front of people, but I think I liked songs. I really liked music, but I didn't really do it out in front of people for a long time. But in high school, I started to sing. My high school music program was really great, and the people that were part of it and the people running it were really supportive and lovely. And I started singing a little bit in high school with friends too. And but I didn't really start singing or writing songs or anything like that until I moved out here, I guess, in 2009. I don't know.
What was the catalyst for you to start writing your own songs?
Oh, that's a good question. Have you asked me that before? I don't know, actually. That's a really good question. I love words. I've always really loved words, and I've always written, like, even before high school, I think I've always been fascinated by words. I like language. I really like artistic language and poetry. And my mom owned a bookstore when I was a kid, and I loved reading. And then music is like taking the thing I love about words and then putting them to sound, and then it makes people feel so many things. And I think I really wanted to make people feel the way that music makes me feel. Like, sometimes you have something you want to say. Have you ever, like, heard a song or read something and you want to show someone you love and you want them to care about it the same
check
way?
This out. Yeah. And
sometimes no one will feel the same way.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, but I want to do that. I think that's what makes me want to make stuff.
So, what type of songs did you start writing?
Bad ones.
What do you mean by bad ones?
They were really bad. Like, I hope so deeply that the first songs I ever wrote have long left people's brains and are never see the modern light of day.
Wait, like, you never released any of them?
No, like, I was playing them like to people around me when I first wrote them, but now
what is bad about them though?
They're just cringe. You know when you read back like a journal entry?
Okay. How about
I
this
can't believe I felt that way.
Don't sing the song.
No.
But like, can you share one or two lines from this cringe period?
I wish I had thought about this before. I would. Oh man, no! Let's come. I'll try and remember it.
I'll come back.
I know that I could. I know the friend I would call that would remember.
Okay.
But let's come back to that.
Okay, cool. Okay. At what point did you start thinking that? Wait, when you were writing those songs, then did you think they were bad then, or you're just thinking they are bad now?
I knew they weren't great.
Oh, okay.
But I was trying, and I think I knew that it would take a long time. So I had to start.
At what point did you think, oh, okay, this is not too bad?
Actually, I can name the first song that I wrote that I put on an album that I could say out loud, this is a good song. I like this song. And
what song is it?
It was called If I Leave Town, and it's on my first album, which is called What Remains. And it's not that all the other songs I wrote before that I thought were bad, but it was the first song that, and still to this very day, I like playing it. I like singing it. It feels true. It feels genuine to it was exactly what I wanted to say. And I think that doesn't always happen. You don't always say exactly what you're trying to say. Sometimes you get close. And then once in a while you say the thing that you actually mean, and it's like so satisfying. And then that song kind of made me realize, oh, this is what I want to be saying what I mean all the time. Like, I don't want it just to sound pretty. I want it to like mean the thing that I'm saying.
What were you trying to get people to feel with that song?
That song was kind of like a breakup song, but the feeling of like when you've left a relationship and you spend all this time imagining what they're doing or what they're thinking about or how they're picturing you, and just wondering if you disappeared, they wouldn't even know because you're so disconnected now. You went from being together all the time to now you literally do not know where each other are at any time. That feeling of just like, oh, this person that was everything to me is now truly nothing. Truly nothing. Like, they don't have a space in your life at all. And that's sad.
Okay, why is it that heartbreak or breakup songs are always the good songs?
I don't know. Why do you think?
I don't know. It's like, I mean, is that all the feeling, you're just pouring it into this song, and because all the I'm leaving you, we are done, it's really, really nice.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's because it's like such a quick access to those feelings. Everyone's experienced it. We've all been there, and it's so easy to imagine feeling that way.
Okay.
I don't know.
So you have all these songs you've been writing and stuff. At what point are you like, hey, I'm gonna make an album?
Well, I was at NSCC after I was at Dow for a totally different thing that had nothing to do with art at all. And I met Erin Costelo, who eventually would produce all of my albums so far. But the first one, I was in a duo, and she produced that record. But before that, I was singing with her, like as a backup singer. And I loved it. It was great. And then I kind of started realizing that I wanted to do my own stuff.
Well, how did you get to that realization?
Probably like resentment of everyone around me that was doing what they wanted to do.
Oh, right.
Not resentment for the people that gave me opportunities, because, traveling and all the bands that I got to sing with or play with, I think so fondly of all of those memories, and, it was amazing. But then at some point you just start to like have ideas and you have nowhere to put them because there's no use for your original ideas in someone else's original project.
Yeah, we won't use that here. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good idea,
yeah,
but...
great idea, not for us. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. And so I kind of just started writing my own songs, and I thought, well, I could do that too, maybe. Or at least try. And then, Erin has been like the major, I would say, through line in all of my projects, and has been really supportive, and also is like extremely talented and smart, and is like a really big motivator in my career, just because she was one of the first people that I met that I was like, oh, you're doing this thing that I want to do. Like, so many aspects of your life and your career are things I really aspire to. So I would say that's kind of how it started, was just, it's nice to see someone in a position where you can imagine yourself in that position.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about the process itself. I mean, you've done this for years and years now. Do you have a process when it comes to, okay, I'm going to work on a song, I'm going to work on a record or whatever. Right. Do you have a thing you do?
I wish that I could say, yeah. And I guess in some ways I do have intention behind it. Whereas I would say years ago, even with my first album, it all felt a little bit accidental. like it was out of my control. And I think people sometimes, I think there's like I don't know if the right word is taboo for that. And now I'm like, maybe I don't know language that well, but I feel like there's this thing around art where it's like, you just have to wait for it to come. But I used to feel that way when I'm like, oh, I don't have any ideas today, so I guess today is not an idea day. And now I'm much more like regimented about like, if I want to have an album, I have to sit down every day and write songs. And sometimes the songs are going to be bad and sometimes they're going to be good. And then at the end of the whatever month period, or, you know, if you have to write a song every day for a week, then at the end of the week, you have 7 songs. And that's how you get better. And I think for a long time, I just kind of thought, however good I am is however good I'll always be. And now I think about it way more as like a thing that is a practice.
It's like you're going to work out. You know? You start out with, I can't lift 5 pounds, and then 6 years later, you're like squatting really heavy things. It's just the way it is. And I think that's what differentiates. I don't want to, like, I'm using amateur and professional here, just, you know, by the side. But I think that's what separates the two. Because the amateur is like, oh, fuck, you know, I'm not inspired today. But the professional understands that it's not going to show up. You have to sit down, or, you know, whatever it is you do, or get on the piano or guitar and you do your thing. And as you do it, it's like your body gets into that zone. Like you're not going to get there without doing the thing. So
no, it's exactly the same as what you said with like working out. Most of the time, I don't want to go to the gym, but once I'm there, you never regret it. And I feel that same way about making stuff, any kind of thing, songs, art, whatever. You maybe resist starting, but you never regret it because it's something happens.
There's a book, I'm gonna kill the title. I don't know if it's War of Art or something, but the guy, his name is Stephen Pressfield, he literally calls it the resistance. It's stopping you from doing the thing, and the only way to kill the resistance is to literally do the thing. So if you're a writer, like I have this, you know, when people are old, they don't filter anything anymore. They just so it's like, oh, what do you want to be, a writer or whatever? And she's like, so what have you written? And you're like, I don't know. So you're not a writer, right? And it's like, it makes sense. If you're that thing, you have to do that thing. You're like, I'm Leanne Hoffman, I'm a singer. Are you writing songs? Are you singing songs?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's tough, because I think there's a lot of fraudulent feelings that come with being an artist, where you're like, well, I'm not doing, like, especially when you do multiple things. Like, I talk to my friends about this, my other artist friends about this a lot, where it's like, oh, I'm technically a songwriter, but it's, you know, it's been however many days, and right now I'm just taking pictures, or like I'm making videos, or I'm making visual art, and that has nothing to do with songs. So I guess I'm not a songwriter right now. So I think that's like a hard thing to...
I think with someone like you, that you write and you do videos and you do all these things, like, I think that's actually a cheat code. Because, you know, it's like, I'm writing, I'm like, I'm not feeling it now, but I can carry this thing, but it's still part of what I'm doing. So it's like, everything you're doing is supporting everything you're doing. Talking about that, let's talk about your book.
Okay.
Text Collector, it's what it's called?
Yeah, same as the album. Yeah. The book came, I guess, technically before the album. I wrote a poem every day for a year. And
which is crazy, but...
It is crazy.
Cool.
It's crazy. And then I took those poems and made them into the songs that are on the album. So they're related in that way. And I didn't know that was what I was going to do with the poems, but I kind of just thought, oh, I just put a year of work into this and I should use it in some way. I did post every day. I posted one on this Instagram account, which was called The Text Collector. But like, you know, there was not a lot of people were following it, which is totally fine. And honestly, I'm thankful now, because once again, I look back and I'm like, at least 50% of those poems had to be not great, because it's so hard to write a poem every day. But yeah, and then I took those and was able to kind of make them into songs, into pop songs, which is cool because I feel like that we don't often think about those two things crossing over. Like poetry, I think for the most part, people have this really specific image of what poetry is, and it's like boring and confusing and like old, you know, and like Shakespearean or like sounds weird.
Yeah.
But that's not been my experience with writing or reading poetry, and I think there is a lot of crossover.
No, I mean, a song is literally a poem with music on it.
Yeah, can be for sure.
Why did you call it the text collector though?
Well, again, I think just because it came from the Instagram account originally, before I started posting poems, all I was going to do with that account was post text messages that I liked, that I had received.
Oh.
And so initially I like took that name for the Instagram account because I thought I don't want anyone else to have it and I might use it. And then I never did. And then when I started writing these poems, I thought I might as well put them there because I have it. And then when I was trying to think of a name for the album, my friend Katie Tower, who actually designed the artwork for the album, was like, I don't understand why you would call it anything other than the name of the thing. And yeah, she was right. So we used that.
Okay, so let's talk about when it's time to play on stage. Okay, so you just had an amazing performance at Music Week.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is happening. You know, you have a series of shows coming. How do you prepare for it till you get to stage?
Oh, right. Like, you mean in all the ways. Yeah. I try really hard to stay healthy physically because I get really stressed and the stress then makes me sick often. And I've done a way better job at that in the past like few shows and in general in the past year, I would say. So I try and sleep when I'm tired and eat things that are going to make me feel good and just rest. Like I try to stay calm because I'm not calm ever really. And shows make me really anxious. So my biggest thing is, trying to stay calm.
What about the make changes? About shows?
Yeah, you and my therapist would love to know. We would love that. I would love to know also. There's so many things. I mean, I think it's unnatural to do it. I think that it's like not a natural state for any human to like go in front of people and say, here's this little thing I wrote about my life. Can I sing it for you? And I'll move around while I do it. And it's weird when you think about it. But I think I just really have high standards, as probably most artists do. And you want it to go well. And so many things can go not well. And it's just vulnerable. But aside from that, I think my body, it's like sometimes my brain is doing something that my body picks up on and I'm not even aware of it. Like, you know, sometimes I have physical anxiety before show, but I'm excited. I'm not nervous as much as I'm like excited and my body takes it as something else. Yeah. So, yeah, I think there's just a lot of components to it and you want it to go well.
So sleeping or, resting helps with that.
Resting, eating good stuff, trying to exercise, trying to like vocalize every day so I'm not just doing the hard thing on the day of.
Right.
You know, like making it feel like it's normal because I've been doing that every day, like rehearsing a lot and being super prepared so nothing new happens on the day of. I think that's important to me, at least. I'm sure everyone has a bunch of different stuff that they do, but I feel like it's in the preparation, so nothing surprises you.
And then how do you calm down? The show is done.
Yeah.
What?
How do I calm down? Honestly, I always find it to be a little bit depressing after a show ends.
You just want it to keep going, or?
I don't know what I want, but all the serotonin leaves your brain.
Right.
And everyone's like, great job. And then they go home. And then you go home and you eat your like leftover food and you go to bed.
But you get to do it again, though.
I
This is
know.
literally your life. How do you feel now, kind of doing that thing you've always wanted to do?
Well, I mean, good overall. Yes, overall, it's so cool to get to make stuff. And I love that. I love that I get to like, I love that mostly that people have been really like receptive of all the different stuff that I'm like interested in. And I think Nova Scotia is really special for that. I think there's like a lot of creative people that make stuff and take stuff, and it's like this nice environment where you can like change and people are like, cool. I think that's great. I do sometimes wonder if I would feel different, you know, if I had something more structured, because sometimes making your own path or imagining what your life's going to be like is scary.
Right. Versus show up here, do this and do that.
Yeah, do this 9-to-5 job.
Right.
With something hopefully that you're like interested in, but sometimes not.
Yeah. You're like, oh fuck, I have to do this again today.
Yeah, I would fear that feeling. But I think overall it feels really good. And it's nice to think like if 10 or 15 years ago, would I be proud of myself now? And I think I for sure would be. I'd be like, I'd think I'm so cool, you know? And I didn't always think I was cool. I mean, sometimes I still don't think I'm cool, but like, you know what I mean?
Cool.
You like look back on your life and you're like, wow, that's cool.
You did that. Talking about cool stuff, your videos are really, really cool.
Thanks.
What is what goes into making a Leanne Hoffman video?
Ideas, I guess. Often, I mean, someone that knows what they're doing, because I'm not that person yet. I have ideas, but I don't have an education in like film, creating videos, directing, anything like that. I have ideas, and it involves finding people that are close to me in some way, so I trust them and they will allow me to be involved enough that it's part of me, but not so much that I ruin it. Because if you're learning a new thing, you have to surround yourself with people that already know what they're doing. Otherwise, it's just a disaster.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's been a big part of it, is having people that are really talented at their jobs, allowing me to like help, like be a part of it instead of just passing it off to someone.
Thank you. You do it.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing most of the videos, do you see yourself ever directing your?
I would love to do that. Yeah, I would love to do that, and I think about it all the time. And I have lots of ideas of what I would do, but it's finding the right people that would like give up that part and let someone that's never done it before do it. Because it costs money and time, and people like, you know, deserve to be compensated for their time and their energy. So yeah, it's great to have funding and I don't have like a pool of money right now.
That is the thing. Talking about funding,
Yeah.
what do you like, you know, I'm not originally from Canada, and then I moved to Canada, and they were like, oh, you know, you create out whatever, there's this pool of money you can apply to. I was like, what? Well, you know, my mind was blown.
Right.
But then you realize that there are all these creative people that are all going for this one pool.
Yeah.
Like, how was your thoughts on grants and navigating the whole grant thing?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think like it's really great and special and awesome that there's funding. And then at the same time, obviously there's so much stuff being made, and so it's hard to get the funding. And I think that I want to preface this by saying that every dollar I've ever received has been deeply appreciated. Like I wouldn't be able to do any of the stuff I've done without funding. I've been really lucky, and I've worked hard to like access the funding that I can, but you don't always, tons of people that work hard don't get it. Like it's really hard to get funding, especially for like middle projects. Like I think there's a lot of access to the beginning of your career. Like if someone's like, you want to make a demo of 3 songs, we'll give you a couple $1,000s. And you're like, that's amazing because I've literally never recorded a song before. This is going to start my career. There's a lot of that. And then there's a lot of stuff like at the level where people that are so big that you're like, you need funding still? They are competing for it. So there's absolutely no way I'm going to get stuff like that. And then the middle feels really challenging because that's where everyone else is. We're all just in this middle competing for the same, hundreds of thousands of dollars split amongst the entire country or whatever province. And I think that that's where careers need the most money, is in the middle to like push. I don't know. Someone's going to be listening to this being like, she doesn't know anything.
No, but I
feel that way.
Yeah.
It feels like, in this middle point, and some people would still call me emerging, which I guess I am still being birthed as an artist, but like, I'm not brand new and I'm nowhere near famous or even in the province. You know what I mean? Like there's so much room to grow, but it requires a lot of money, so much money just to make stuff that's like at the quality. And then people say, do it yourself. And it's like, great, teach me how. How do you do that? You need money. You need money to access either other people that deserve money to teach you or online courses or academic stuff. Like, it's expensive to get better at stuff.
It just is. And, people are like, even if you go on YouTube or whatever, you still kind of need money to do the thing, though. So
yeah, for sure. Even if you have the knowledge, you still are probably going to have to, maybe buy the iPhone that you make the video off if you don't have the best phone that you have, or buy the thing that you're going to prop it up on, or get people to come be extras in the video, or even visual art, like buying the stuff to make the thing. It's expensive. It's expensive to build a frame. It's expensive to, and sometimes to display that stuff costs money. To compete in contests costs money. To have your art shown costs money.
To apply to showcases costs
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fair. Because again, if you follow the way up, the organizations are working really hard, but all I'm saying is that middle ground is really expensive to be in. And if you want to keep pushing your career to the next level, it's like a slow, expensive burn. That's how I am. That's how I feel right now.
How do you keep going though? When you have all these obstacles and stuff.
I think that it's important to have moments where you feel really good about something on the inside just for you, but also I think it is important when you to share stuff so you get external validation. I do think that's important. When people are like, you should be making it for you, that's true, and it comes from there. But once in a while, and I mean you just tell me a nice thing every 3 months, and I have it fills my cup a little bit. Or I don't know, and that's not the only thing. I think part of continuing to go again is financial stuff, like having side jobs, or in my case, there's been multiple times where I'm like, oh, I can't pay my own rent. And I have an extremely helpful and supportive family that loves me and thinks that art's really important. So they're I feel as long as I think, as long as I'm working hard and I'm taking care of myself and doing what I can, if I ever, fuck up or something happens, I have people that would look out for me. So that, I think you have to invite people into your corner and ask for help. And then also you gotta enjoy the thing, do stuff. And that's why I switch through mediums so often, because if music is making me feel like shit, then I'll go do something that doesn't make me feel like shit. I made a little really terrible animation the other day about creativity because I was just so bored of the thing I was supposed to be doing. And then I posted it on Instagram and so many people were like, this is so relatable and I love it. And that's great. And now my cup feels full to like go do a different thing. So I think finding, like you said, that they all link together. And if you're a person that makes stuff and you're tired of the thing you're making, or you're feeling burnt out, or you don't want to keep going, there's probably something else that would, fill that up.
No, that's true.
I think.
That's true. I agree. And something you mentioned, apart from loving the thing you're doing or doing it because you love it, you mentioned earlier about your therapist, that I'm like, another thing that also comes, especially in your captions, mental health.
Yeah.
Why is mental health important to you?
Well, I'm my like early 20s, I had shitty mental health. Like I was extremely unwell mentally. And I think people that are really close to me would attest to that. Like it was a huge like hurdle in my life. I think I spent most of my 20s trying to get well. And so I think, and a lot of those things I look back on now that I'm in a better mental health space and I've like received the help and the care that I need, it's so prevalent. Like we like are low key all dealing with mental health stuff. And it's upsetting how like it's not addressed like something like if you were walking around like bleeding a little bit all the time from your skin, someone would be like, are you okay? Like it's not, that seems like it might get infected or like that's going to be a problem. Do you know what it is the same to me? To me it's the same. And I think that we all have different issues and we can all empathize with each other if we try, because everyone has, most people have gone through something. And for making stuff, again, I think we're already a little bit susceptible to emotional stuff.
Right.
And I don't feel like I would be here, at all, but also be here making stuff if it wasn't for mental health support. It's so hard to access it.
That is, wow. You're just dropping bombs today. It's kind of funny at the same time because Andre 3000 from Outcast just came out with a new weird album. And he's kind of promoting it. But there was this podcast I was listening and he was talking about him having anxiety, like Andre 3000 having anxiety to go on stage and stuff. And his therapist was like, well, the thing that is making you create the art is this thing you're also afraid of. So you just have to find a way to navigate that, And I'm like, oh, wow, fuck, okay. Because sometimes I'm like, I'm just not going to do that, or I'm just not going to face that because of how it makes me feel. But when I do it, I feel good.
Oh man, that's so like round and roundy, because yeah, that's really hard. And I think that's true with most creative people, is the thing that's allowing you to make art and make vulnerable art is also the thing that opens you up to like hurt and like deep sorrow. It's kind of the thing that's allowing you to do it is also the thing that's like bringing you down. Yeah. And so I do feel like, everyone should have access to mental health support, but I really think that, and I do think it's changing, but I think the arts industries, it's smart to be aware of that. If we're singing and we're playing or we're making stuff and it's about our feelings and you're relating because it's sad, it's like, well, we're probably sad. Like, it's hard to be alive in general. And I think that if you're opening yourself up to that and sharing it with other people, like an audience, it's a little bit harder too. Like you're already kind of, the wound is,
I know, you're like, hey, open. Come see.
Come see me bleeding a little bit all the time.
Okay, that's harsh.
Well, but you know what I mean? The metaphor is like maybe a little bit,
no,
maybe it's not the best metaphor,
it's true,
but
though. But it is true
way.
because, especially like with the songs you're the songs you write, it's like personal and they're so raw. Right. And then sometimes when you're performing, you're like, holy shit, okay. Either I'm feeling this now, or at least when I was writing that, that's how I was feeling, you know?
Yeah.
So let's talk about, I guess, bringing it all together. You do all these things to take care of yourself, and you're creating this art that you're doing. What are some things you have planned coming up?
Well, I'm going to keep playing out this release, so that you never really know how long it's going to last, but I'm going to keep going until it feels like people are tired of it. And I am trying to write more with other people. I just recently signed a publishing deal, so I'm hoping to do more co-writing with other artists and help make songs for people that aren't me, because I really like doing that. So I'll be doing a lot of that. I'm already writing more stuff for myself, so I know that there's more songs coming, but I think right now I'm just focusing on this record, this album, and the book, and all of the things that are coming with that. More shows, and that's as far as I'm going in my head.
So publishing is cool, but for the people that are watching or listening, can you break down what it publishing is?
Well, in this case, the publishing deal it's kind of like someone who's representing your writing. So, I guess, I'm also, Erin Costelo has a label, and I'm on her label, so that label represents sort of the songs or the artist, and then a publisher is the person kind of representing you as a writer. So they try and get the songs you're writing, to people that could maybe put it on television, or to get it to other artists that they might want to use the songs that you have that I haven't recorded, or you get to write with other artists that are looking for songs for their albums, and then so it's someone that's like pushing you as a writer, not as like an artist, but as someone that writes songs.
Wow.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to have so much fun chatting with you, and this has been great. Okay, yeah, I'm going to let you go with this question, though. What do you love about singing?
Oh, what do I love about singing? When you're in it, when you're in the thing you're singing, and you feel it in your body, and you can like hear it in the space, it feels like a release. Like it's like when it's good, it's really good. And I don't mean when it sounds good. I mean like when it feels good, it's there's like a healing property to making sound with your own body. I think it's like the coolest instrument, and it feels, like you're doing a physical thing, and it's like a type of meditation almost when you're in it. When you're not, it's scary and nerve-wracking, but when you can just kind of be in your own voice, even just being alone and singing is like one of the best things, I think.
Wow. Leanne, thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.